The fear and vulnerability of being trapped in your car at the mercy of gun-wielding thugs. Unemployment is up. What does this mean ahead of tomorrow's budget speech? And the barbaric treatment of animals on board a ship lying in centimetres deep feces. Hello, I'm Jane Dutton.
This is Eyewitness News.
More South Africans are out of work now than in the last quarter. The country's official unemployment rate has breached the 32% mark, again following the recent job losses in the fourth quarter of last year. That's up from 31.9%. Stats SA data shows industries that contributed to the drop include community and social services, construction and agriculture. This means in the economically active population, 7.9 million people are jobless.
When there's a movement, particularly when there's a movement downwards on the number of people employed, of course, there's an increase in the number of unemployed people. Unemployment as a rate will increase. So the 7.9 million represents the 32.1%, which is up by 0.2 of a percentage point from the previous quarter.
Sitting ducks, victims of an increasingly lawless state. Gunmen picking on motorists stuck in early morning gridlock. Gauteng police have told Eyewitness News that illegal miners are behind the brazen robberies on the M1 North near the Crown interchange this morning. A group of gun-wielding men capitalised on the morning gridlock and robbed motorists at gunpoint along the M2 off-ramp. Police say the group fled to a nearby illegal mining shaft when law enforcement arrived at the scene of the crime. This distressed motorist says the route was chaotic.
There are 5 guys walking around with 9mm in their hands, literally robbing car after car. It's a mess. People are overreacting. They're crashing their cars into the barrier lane because they're scared that they're being robbed in their cars. Please send emergency vehicles. People are being terrorized in their cars.
The muggings come as Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi announced that the province is winning the war against illegal mining. Lesufi said law enforcement has destabilised illicit mining in the various regions of the province. Staying with Lesufi's promises, civil organisation Undoing Tax Abuse says the Gauteng Premier continues to bait residents with the promise of scrapping e-tolls. Lesufi announced the e-toll grantees in Gauteng will officially start being switched off and delinked as soon as next month.
Yeah, look, we've heard this before, and we would love to be pleasantly surprised, but there have been many deadlines for the end of e-tolls, and this is just another one. But up until today, they've missed every single deadline.
More horrific details have emerged of the condition of animals aboard the Al Kuwait. The livestock carrier has travelled from Brazil and was destined for Iraq but stopped in Cape Town. Some of the 19,000 animals were found lying in their own urine and feces. More than 5 of them had to be euthanized due to injuries or to relieve them from suffering. A foul smell emanating from the vessel hung over large parts of the Cape Town CBD yesterday. The NSPCA says the smell is indicative of the awful conditions the animals had to endure.
As soon as they are finished loading, that ship should go, because every day that the ship is standing in the harbour, it only prolongs the journey for these animals. And as you can imagine, the stench in Cape Town is only indicative of what the animals are experiencing aboard.
The NSPCA has approached the courts on numerous occasions since 2019 in a bid to put an end to the transportation of live animals by sea. So here's a good example of tax money well spent. Northwest MEC Nono Moloi will today deliver the state of the province on behalf of its Premier, Bushi Maape, who is once again on sick leave.
And when we return, we'll indicate.
Moloi was yet again appointed acting Premier this week, following calls from the ANC Youth League for Maape to not be allowed to deliver his SOPA. Maape spent most of the past year on sick leave, returning to duty in January to oversee the reopening of schools, only to go back on sick leave. He also travelled to Thailand to seek further medical attention last month. South Africa was back at the International Court of Justice today for oral presentations on the legal consequences of Israel's occupation of Palestinian territories.
We wish to make the following submissions. South Africa cannot overstate the significance of this advisory opinion for the Palestinian people, more especially the legal characterization of the situation of occupation and the imposition of the system of racial oppression and apartheid, which have unconscionably been permitted to continue for far too long. The occupation alone has persisted for 56 years. As the UN Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territories explained in 2022, the occupation by Israel has been conducted in profound defiance of international law and hundreds of United Nations resolutions, with scant pushback from the international community.
At the same time, the Security Council will vote on a new draft resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The document prepared by Algeria demands an immediate humanitarian ceasefire that must be respected by all parties. The vote comes as Israel prepares to move into the southern Gaza Strip city of Rafah, where thousands of people have fled as part of its mission to destroy Hamas. That's it from us. Don't forget to download the EWN app. I'll see you for more tomorrow.
Eyewitness News. In touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, log on to ewn.co.za or ewn.mobi.